Welcome to Women's Sports Weekly, where women's sports happen every day, but we talk about it once a week. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Carolyn. Women's Sports Weekly is a podcast where we discuss the latest news, explore interesting stories, and share our love for women's sports. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at WomensSportsWeeklyPod. Follow us and rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Send us an email at womensportsweeklypod@gmail.com, and we may feature your email on our Listeners Experience Zone, The Les.
Happy Thanksgiving, you turkeys.
Wow.
I love Thanksgiving.
You do love Thanksgiving. I'm excited for Thanksgiving this year.
I think it's going to be really fun because we're starting out the day with a run, which you know I love. Here in Denver, I shouldn't say here in Denver. There's turkey trots all over the country, but there's a big one in Denver, and a lot of people from Run Club are doing it with us. So it's going to be a really nice way to start the morning with friends. I'm just really excited for that.
We are the type of people who run on Thanksgiving. So that tells you everything you need to know about us.
And it is literally your worst nightmare.
It is. If I knew I was marrying into a running family. No, I was doing turkey trots before this.
Yeah, you were. And I never did turkey trots because I was always playing football with my family. But you did marry someone who likes to run, so it comes with the territory.
Do you have a favorite Thanksgiving or favorite Thanksgiving memory?
Ooh, I think I've talked about this before, but my family, whenever I'm back east, we always do a turkey bowl in the morning, and it started when I was younger. I just have so many fun memories playing football the morning of Thanksgiving with my dad's side of the family. So I would say all those compiled are just a lot of my favorite memories for Thanksgiving.
Do you know your stats, like how many touchdowns you have in turkey bowl?
Absolutely not, but just know my family, my family's very competitive. It's where I get my competitiveness from. My dad is one of 5, 4 boys, 1 girl, and they are all very competitive. And the uncles, I think they go back to when they were kids wanting to beat up on each other, and they take it very, very seriously. It's really entertaining, honestly.
They're all fighting with each other.
But what about you? What are your favorite Thanksgiving memories?
One year we actually went to Ireland for Thanksgiving.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
You were on that trip. It was such a wonderful Thanksgiving. We did it last minute. It was my family. So my sister, my brother, my mom, and our partners. We just had a blast.
Yeah, that's still top 5 trips of all time for me.
We went for a long weekend. We saw so much. I felt like we really did some touristy things and got some history. And then we just went out hard.
Yeah, that's where my love for Guinness started. Obviously, where else would you start loving Guinness? But yeah, we did go out hard, and we have some funny memories from that trip.
My sister's not a touchy-feely type of person, and she gave Danielle a huge kiss on the cheek, and we were like, oh my gosh.
And it was on video. We were cracking up.
So that's some good ones, but also just time with family. My mom's side has over 40 people every Thanksgiving. There's a table with, I think last year I counted 15 to 18 desserts just filled. And yeah, those are some of the great memories there too.
Yeah, that was my first time spending Thanksgiving with your mom's side last year. There were a ton of people, so it was a lot of fun. We'll be in Denver this Thanksgiving and head back to Jersey for Christmas, so it'll be good to spread it out. But hopefully everyone listening has a great Thanksgiving, or if you're listening after Thanksgiving, we hope it was wonderful. And it's just a fun time of year.
It is a fun time of year. Thanksgiving time also means that it's Wicked time.
Yes, we went and saw Wicked this past weekend, Wicked for Good. We won't give any spoilers, but it was great. So you should go see it.
It's getting met with some mixed reviews, and I just don't agree. So I've seen Wicked the musical on Broadway, and humble brag, and Act 2 is not as good as Act 1. You have Defying Gravity. Act 1 is more fun. And Act 2 is when it gets really, really serious, and everyone is processing everything that's happened in Act 1. I knew that. So I think my expectations were appropriate. I don't know what people were expecting, but I thought they did such a good job of wrapping everything up. People are like, it should have been one movie. And it's like, well, yeah, it should have. But every time they do this, they spread out these things over multiple things to make more money. So it's like, would it have been nice to be one movie? Yes. Is that realistic in our capitalistic society? I don't think so.
I went into the movie not knowing anything somehow for a whole year. I never saw the play and I didn't look at any spoilers of what was going to happen. So I truly went in not knowing anything, which I think you were pretty surprised about that I could hold out for that long.
It was really impressive because I am always looking at spoilers and I just love to do deep dives on things. So that's why I always know way too much and I always spoil things for myself. But
yeah, but I did not. And I still love the movie. So check it out. Definitely worth it.
Music's great. Costumes are great. Ariana Grande, man, is just like the perfect Glinda.
Yeah, love Cynthia Erivo. They're all just amazing. And doesn't hurt when you go to a movie theater with reclining chairs, heated, and who doesn't love a bucket of popcorn to watch a movie? So 10 out of 10 would recommend.
And it's just such a beautiful story about friendship. Like, that's what I love. Like, yeah, Fiyero is there, but it is such a story of Glinda and Elphaba and like Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. And you could just tell that their emotion, I don't know, it was just so heartwarming to me.
Yeah.
Go see Wicked for Good. We're not sponsored by them, but there is a crossover between Wicked and women's sports. It's there.
Yeah, look at all the WNBA players, Steph Dolson, Kayla McBride. They post so many videos and they just are obsessed. So that's also a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, and female friendship, it's all ties together.
Yes. We would also like to highlight that we're almost coming up on 100 episodes for this podcast. I personally cannot believe we made it this far.
Me neither. There have been times, honestly, in this podcast where we were like, should we stop?
Yeah, especially in the beginning. Times were rough. Figuring it out, learning new things. And we've definitely found our groove since then. But it blows my mind that we're coming up on 100 episodes.
A lot of hours of us recording, probably over 100 hours of us recording, with the amount of times that we've had to redo episodes because we've messed something up. It's just really, really incredible. From starting as fans, which we still are 100% and want to remain true to that, to having so much recorded stuff, podcast recordings of us, we've come a really long way.
We have. And to celebrate 100, we were thinking about what can we do to celebrate it? Because this is a huge milestone for us. And we're going to host an Ask Us Anything. So now's your chance to get any burning questions off your chest over the next couple of weeks before we enter episode 100. And we will have a section where we answer your questions.
They can be personal questions. They can be about sports. They can be silly or not silly or anywhere in between. We will do our best to answer every single one. That's my commitment. So if you send us a question, we will do our best to answer it, but we do have discretion to not answer ones we don't want to.
Yeah, of course. But we'll post on Instagram, so you could DM us your questions there. You could also send us an email. Our email is WomensSportsWeeklyPod@gmail.com. So whatever works for you, send us some emails and we will answer your questions.
Yes, we will answer your questions on episode 100. You need to send us any questions by Saturday, December 6th for them to be included. Reach out to us through Instagram, through our email. Get those questions in, and we'll be sure to post on our Instagram as well, where you can just quickly reply.
Yes. With that, enough about us. Let's get into the highlight reel for this week. There were a lot of exciting games, and we want to cover them, starting with NCAA women's basketball.
Let's get into this UConn versus Michigan game this past week.
To be fair, we were at Wicked during this game, but we did watch very in-depth highlights, and we couldn't believe the score when we came out of the movie. It's the first thing we looked at. UConn beat Michigan 72-69, and Michigan did not go away easily. Going into this game, Gino Auriemma, head coach of UConn, even said Michigan would be their toughest early test, and they did not disappoint. That was a very true statement. Although, I did not think anyone could believe that in the first quarter with how that went, because UConn came out so strong, and after the first quarter, they were up 22-5. So it was not a good showing for Michigan in that first quarter. And even watching back at the highlights, I was like, how the hell did Michigan even come back from this?
Yeah, it was a game of runs, like of pushes and then stops, but UConn dominated the first half.
Even at halftime, UConn was up 45-27. And again, I would think at that point, especially this UConn team is so dominant. They just look so polished this year. To be down basically 20 points at half, you would think a team might just lay down after that. Like, how do you even come back from that?
Especially to UConn, number 1 seeded team in the country.
And Michigan is number 6 at the time of recording, but like they haven't been this high up in previous years. So I would say they're pretty new to being this high in the top 10. And that's definitely a test for them, but they responded with a 13-0 run in the third. At the end of the third quarter, the score was 49-45, so they really closed in on them. As you know, UConn did win this game. Just want to review the final minute because it was pure chaos. Silas Swords hit a deep three with 22 seconds left to make it 68-66. Granted, she hit a lot of deep threes, especially towards the end of the game. After that deep three, AZ Fudd, ice in her veins, hits 2 free throws.
Can I just say something? AZ Fudd is a robot.
Automatic. Her shot is automatic.
Her shot is the same every single time. You know right when it goes off her hands that it's going in. It's really incredible to watch.
It is. So she hits those 2 free throws, no problem. Silas Swords came right back, hit another bomb, and she cut the score to 1 point, 70-69, with 12 seconds left. Of course, AZ Fudd goes to the foul line again, makes 2 more foul shots, no problem. Michigan did have a chance to get a shot off, but they couldn't. It was going back and forth between UConn and them. I'm actually really surprised they didn't call a timeout in that moment. Even the announcers said, is coach going to call a timeout here? But she didn't. So thought that was interesting, but they couldn't get a shot off in time. That's essentially how UConn pulled it off at the end. A few key performances. UConn's AZ Fudd had 31 points. Then you have sophomore Sarah Strong with 16 points and 20 rebounds. What I said watching these highlights is Sarah Strong is a woman among girls.
Correct.
Just dominant.
And great passing. She had an insane pass overhead as she's falling down.
Yeah, so fun to watch. And then Michigan's Silas Swords ended with 29 points. And then you have Olivia Olson, who added 18 points.
Silas Swords is amazing at scoring 25 points or more against number 1 team. She did this to South Carolina last year where she went off, and I believe she had 27 points against South Carolina when they were the number 1 seed. She just shows up big against big teams.
Yeah, so definitely need to check out Michigan a few more times. Other key takeaways that I noticed when I was watching, UConn added transfer Sarah Williams, her down low with Sarah Strong, just a scary combination. You have one at the foul line, one on the block, the way they can pass to each other. And then you have AZ Fudd and Ashlyn Shade, who are just automatic shooters. And then you have KK Arnold, who is really continues to step up in her role. This UConn team is pretty dominant. And at the time of this recording, I know this is very early, but I'm looking at them compared to other teams I've seen so far. I'm like, how do they not win the whole thing again?
If they are not in the Final Four, something is very wrong.
Yeah. I feel like they somewhat struggled over the past couple of years. And it's funny I say that because they won the national championship last year, but they just seem like a dominant force again. So I'm excited to continue to watch them grow throughout the season.
Let's get into an upset this week.
I got my Notre Dame shirt on to represent. Finally watched the Notre Dame game. They played USC on Friday. Notre Dame beat number 11 USC 61-59. This game ended with a clutch shot from Hannah Hidalgo. This was at Notre Dame. The Irish fan base was electric. I said to you, damn, I wish I was at this game right now. It would be so fun. We've been in that gym before because we've done some road trips between New Jersey and Colorado, and every time I make it a point to stop at Notre Dame, and we've been in that gym before, and I actually met Muffet McGraw just because we were snooping around. But I just wish I was in that gym for one of these games because it was electric, and when Hannah Hidalgo hit that shot, everyone went absolutely nuts.
Yes.
I would say this is a huge comeback win for Notre Dame. They got smacked. We talked about this last week against Michigan, and Hannah Hidalgo did not have a good game, but her and the team definitely came back. This is another game where it was chaos in the last 1 to 2 minutes. So USC was up 2 with 1:38 left. And then Notre Dame's KK Bransford tied the game at 59 with the jumper. that essentially set up Hannah for her clutch game-winning shot.
Yeah, she hit the shot with 1.9 seconds left, and you just knew it was going to be her, and she knew it was going to be her. Everyone in the gym knew it was going to be her.
She just proves that she's a great closer in women's basketball right now, and they're definitely down this year, but they have some new players that I think they have time to work with each other to start gelling. Some key performances for them, obviously Hannah Hidalgo, she had 22 points, 7 rebounds, 5 steals, and the game winner. You have KK Bransford, she had 11 points, 9 of those 11 were in the fourth, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 blocks. So she was injured last year. So if you don't recognize her, that's why she was on the bench last season. And then you have transfer from Duke, Vanessa De Jesus, who had 13 points, 5 assists, 3 steals. When I was watching this game, one of the things I noticed, she's just like a spark plug.
Yeah, I really like her.
She adds a lot of good energy for Notre Dame. And I just think that once they start gelling, they could really put some things together.
Will there be enough time? I don't know, but they've got the start of something. We'll see how the season goes.
Yeah, and Coach Neil Ivey is a great coach, so they have a good coach leading the way, so it'll be interesting to see. Then you have some USC standouts. Cara Dunn hit 4 threes and ended with 21 points. She was 8 for 11 shooting. Jazzy Davidson added 14 points. Unfortunately for her, struggled with 8 turnovers. And then London Jones, who transferred from UCLA, she typically is their number 2 scorer, but she was actually 0 for 3 from shooting in this game, so that definitely hurt them. Another key point about Notre Dame, their defense. Hannah Hidalgo especially, she is a menace on defense. I think I would want to punch her in the face if I was, I just know myself when I was a player, and if people were annoying on defense, I would literally lose my mind, and she's so annoying on defense.
Danielle doesn't like when people touch her. Yeah. She played a physical sport and didn't like when people touched her.
It's fine in a physical way, but don't just piss me off. So they went into this game averaging 18 steals per game, and then they had 16 in this game. So definitely something notable.
The game wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
It was like turnovers left and right. I think Notre Dame succeeds when they create a hectic environment, and they were able to do just that.
Yes. And then one of my favorite things to notice at games like this, you have Skylar Diggins in the stands. She was in the tunnel going to the locker room after the game. I just love how much of a supporter she is still for her school. And then I noticed Kalia Copper and Erica Wheeler were in the stands, and I said, that's interesting. So got my wheels turning. I might know a thing or two, but then I don't. So thought that was funny, but they weren't sitting with Skylar Diggins, which I was like, I wonder why. But regardless, always fun to see WNBA players at these college games.
For sure. As our last highlight for the week, I want to just highlight that the Women's Professional Baseball League held their inaugural draft this past week, and the number 1 overall pick was Kelsey Whitmore, who was selected by the San Francisco team. She has played baseball her whole life. She went to Cal State Fullerton, where she actually received a softball scholarship. But the time that she was playing softball, she trained with the baseball team as well.
That's so cool and badass.
It is. In 2022, she became the first woman to play in a pro league affiliated with the MLB. Now she gets to play professional women's baseball, which is just so cool. And you may also recognize her because she played for the Savannah Bananas.
Love that.
Lots of others drafted in this Women's Pro Baseball League, but shout out to them. Excited to see where this league goes. Hoping really good things for them.
Yes. With that, let's talk about some updates from Women's Sports Weekly, starting with Run Club. We do not have Run Club this week because it's Thanksgiving, but we will be turkey trotting with our Run Club the morning of Thanksgiving this Thursday, which I am pumped about. Our typical Run Club is every Thursday at 6 p.m. at the 99ers Sports Bar. Each week, if you listen to the podcast, you can get 50% off your first draft with the secret word. So listen in next week, and we will resume Run Club as normal.
We also need to take this time to ask you to please rate and subscribe to our podcast. If there's one thing you can do for our 100th episode as a gift, because you want to give us a gift because we've made it this far, it is to rate, subscribe, and or give us a positive review of our podcast and share it with the people you love. Thank you to everyone who has rated the podcast so far. If you send us a screenshot of your 5-star rating, we will send you a Women's Sports Weekly sticker. Okay, for our deep dive this week, let's get into the NWSL finals.
Yes, this was really a fun game to watch. I thought the energy levels were high from both teams, and I was really locked in watching this game. It was this past Saturday night. It was in San Jose, California, which was funny because both teams were East Coast. But regardless, great game, great fan base. It was a sold-out crowd, which I just love to see. So Carolyn, why don't you give us some background about these two East Coast teams, the Washington Spirit and the New York-New Jersey Gotham.
This is the 44th time these teams have played. That is more than any two teams in NWSL history. As a reminder, the Spirit won the NWSL Championship in 2021. They lost the championship last year.
To the Orlando Pride.
Correct. And for Gotham, they also have an NWSL championship from back in 2023, where they won as the 6th seed, which was the lowest seed at the time.
So they just love to be the dark horse. They come in to these playoffs as the lowest seed, and then they just blow everyone away and win it all. This is the second time they've done this. And this time they were the 8th seed.
Yeah, but don't call them an underdog. They don't want to be called an underdog.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'll take your slogan then, from 8 to great.
Yeah, that's right. So Gotham end up winning this final match 1-0. As you mentioned, Danielle, in front of a sold out crowd. The first half, it really was all Gotham. They put on a ton of pressure.
Yeah, I looked at you and I was like, it just feels like it's in Washington Spirit's half this whole time. Washington Spirit would make runs here or there, but then it would just go back to Gotham. And I think it was high energy to start, but I do feel like I can tell when Washington Spirit started to deflate a little.
But then in the second half, the Washington Spirit come out and I felt like they had more momentum. In the 55th minute, the Washington Spirit almost score, but Emily Sonnet for Gotham makes an incredible body on the line
and she
save.
Is not a goalie, but she threw her body, was in the box, threw her body down. Yeah, that was something else.
The shot was off Lacey Santos from the Washington Spirit, and at that moment I was like, oh, Gotham is not losing. They're not losing when you have someone like that in the backfield who's just sprawled out on the ground to make sure the ball doesn't go into the net.
For sure.
So in the 80th minute, Gotham's Brunina has the ball. She subbed in for Lily Reel, who subbed out because she had a yellow card and they didn't want her to get the red card and then be down. So Brunina comes in. She does some fancy footwork.
Oh my God.
Sends a ball into the middle 18 area. Rose Lavelle comes sweeping in and buries this goal to score in the 80th
and
minute.
This was not a wide open shot because there were a bunch of people in front of her, which blocked the goalie from being able to see what was happening. But Rose Lavelle executed that goal perfectly. Could not have done it any better.
And that's all that was needed. It earned Rose Lavelle the MVP of the match, and Gotham win 1-0.
It's unfortunate because the Spirit definitely had some injuries throughout the game. The goal came right after Hal Hirschfeld was hurt, and they didn't know if they were going to put her back in, but I was like, there's no way, like, just sub someone else in, because obviously she's a great player and a menace on defense, but she was in so much pain. I think it was the back of her leg. I don't know exactly what she injured, but she was out, so they were playing down. And then as soon as she went back in, but still not at 100%, that's when Gotham scored. And I really think that hurt them in that moment.
For sure. And then you have Trinity Rodman, who came in around like the 55th or 56th minute and just didn't look herself, like was definitely not as explosive as she normally is. It stinks. I have my Trinity Rodman headband on today.
She's coming back from injury. She went down after the 90th minute in stoppage time and was holding on to her back. So I'm really hoping she's okay. I think it was just a frustrating way, obviously, for the Washington Spirit to go down.
Definitely. Just to put this into perspective for Gotham, they went winless in their last 4 regular season games. That's what dropped them all the way to the 8th spot. To get to win the championship, they beat number 1 in the standings, Kansas City Current. They beat last year's champion, the Orlando Pride. And then they beat last year's runner-up, the Washington Spirit, to become your 2025 NWSL champions.
Truly amazing. It kind of reminds me, and it's not the same at all because the Aces in the WNBA standings were not the lowest, but it reminds me of that loss that Asia Wilson was like, this is embarrassing. Get your shit together. And then they went on the run and then obviously won it all.
Yep.
I feel like Gotham must have snapped out of it and they were like, what are we doing? I wonder if someone did go and look at everyone and be like, get your shit together.
Yeah.
Like, I'm curious. Nothing went viral like it did with Asia Wilson's text, but I wonder if someone was like, what are we doing? And then they just went on a tear. Regardless, very cool to see.
Yeah, and Rose Lavelle after the game did say, we knew we weren't playing to our full potential in the last few matches. So what a time to start playing to your full potential, to get 3 wins in a row against the 3 best teams left in the standings.
And what a time for Jaden Shaw to just turn 21 a few days before, and then she gets to celebrate her 21st in the locker room after winning an NWSL Championship. So cool. I hope she went out hard and had a great time with the team.
Prayers for her liver.
Yeah, seriously.
I hope she has a buddy taking care of her.
Yes, but happy 21st to Jaden Shaw. And let's get into some NWSL awards now that the season is over.
Yes, so last week the NWSL hosted the NWSL Awards to announce regular season awards. So this was before the championship match. Temwa Chawinga from the Kansas City Current won her 2nd consecutive MVP award. She is the NWSL's first ever back-to-back MVP. She also won the Golden Boot, which is given to the player who scored the most goals in the regular season. She scored 15 goals on the season, even while missing games towards the end.
Unbelievable.
Rookie of the Year, we mentioned her, is Lily Real, who plays for Gotham. Defender of the Year is Tara McKeown, who plays for the Washington Spirit. And just as a reminder, Tara McKeown is not a defender from the beginning. She switched to defender 3 years ago and now is just Defender of the Year. Casual. So cool. Midfielder of the Year is Manaka Matsukubo from North Carolina Courage, and Goalkeeper of the Year is Lorena from the KC Current. Bev Yanez from Racing Louisville was named Coach of the Year. She is the first former NWSL player to make it to playoffs as a head coach, and this was the first time that Racing Louisville made the playoffs ever.
Wow.
So those are your NWSL awards, and that wraps up 2025 NWSL season. With that, let's get into what we're looking forward to this week. Danielle, what do you have?
I'm going to shout out volleyball because NCAA volleyball is coming to an end for the regular season. They have conference play coming up, and I'm looking forward to number 5 Stanford, who will take on number 7 Louisville on Saturday, November 29th on ESPN at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then the volleyball regular season, Saturday is the last day of play, and the tournament selection show is the next day, Sunday, November 30th on ESPN at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then tournament play will start.
Woo!
Yeah, I love the weekend after Thanksgiving because we'll have a 4-day weekend, the two of us, which I'm pumped about, and just get to sit around and watch sports after eating all the food. What are you looking forward to?
In women's basketball, number 15 Tennessee takes on number 3 UCLA on Sunday, November 30th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1.
That's it for this week. We will see you next week on Women's Sports Weekly. In the meantime, watch women's sports and share the podcast with your friends. Rate and subscribe to the pod on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us.
Happy Thanksgiving.